Some days you wake up full of fire, believing you can move mountains with your bare hands, and some days simply standing feels like a victory. I want to speak to both of those days today, because life does not ask how you feel before it demands your faithfulness. The world keeps turning whether your heart is heavy or hopeful, whether your spirit is tired or triumphant. And in that turning, it leaves us a simple, unyielding truth. Your dreams do not need your enthusiasm as much as they need your consistency. So if you have ever felt like quitting, not because you lack ability, but because you lack the strength of the moment, then stay with me. This message is for the days when courage whispers instead of roars, and yet you choose to show up anyway. Feelings are like weather passing through the soul. They arrive unannounced, linger as long as they please, and leave behind either sunshine or storm. But discipline is the ground beneath your feet. It does not ask the sky for permission to be solid. It stays. Too many of us wait to feel ready, to feel inspired, to feel strong before we act. Yet life keeps calling our name even when our hearts feel tired. Consistency is the decision to answer that call, not because the day feels kind, but because your future deserves your faithfulness. There will be mornings when joy walks beside you, when hope feels light and effortless. And there will be evenings when doubt pulls up a chair and refuses to leave. Both are part of being human. But hear this truth gently and clearly. Your responsibility to your purpose does not disappear when your feelings grow restless. Discipline is not cold or cruel. It is caring enough about yourself to keep going even when comfort is absent. It is choosing to water the seed on days you do not yet see green. Feelings are honest, but they are not wise enough to lead your life. They speak from the moment, while discipline speaks from the promise. If you only move when motivation arrives, you will live a life of pauses and regrets. But when you move because you have committed to yourself, something powerful happens. Each small act becomes a quiet declaration. I am still here. I am still trying. I have not abandoned myself. And slowly, that consistency builds a strength no emotion can shake. Discipline does not demand perfection. It asks for presence. Show up as you are, tired, unsure, imperfect, and do the work anyway. Let your effort be gentle but steady. Even slow steps taken daily can cross great distances. You do not need to conquer the whole road today. You only need to keep your feet moving. What you repeat becomes what you trust, and what you trust begins to carry you. Over time, consistency becomes a language your soul understands. It teaches you that you are reliable, that you can be depended on, even by yourself. And that knowledge is healing. It turns fear into familiarity and struggle into strength. The days that once felt heavy begin to feel meaningful because you know you are building something deeper than a mood. You are building character. So let your feelings come and go. Let them speak. Let them cry. Let them rest. But do not hand them the keys to your destiny. Live in discipline. Make it your home. Because when emotions grow quiet and the noise fades, consistency will still be there, standing tall, reminding you that you did not rise by feeling good every day. You rose by refusing to stop. There will be days when your emotions feel louder than your dreams, when your heart feels heavy and your mind starts questioning everything you once believed in. On those days, it is easy to think that because you feel small, your purpose must have become small too. But feelings have a way of lying softly. They convince you that your value rises and falls with your mood. The truth is quieter and stronger. You are bigger than what you feel in this moment. Your purpose was not born from a good day, and it will not disappear because of a bad one. Your mood is a reaction, not a definition. It responds to tiredness, disappointment, fear, and sometimes pain you cannot even name. But your purpose comes from somewhere deeper. It comes from the part of you that survived what you thought would break you. It comes from the voice inside you that kept breathing when giving up seemed easier. That part of you does not vanish when motivation fades. It waits patiently for you to remember who you are beyond the emotion of the hour. There is a quiet strength in continuing when your heart is not celebrating. Anyone can move forward when they feel inspired. It takes courage to move forward when you feel empty. Yet those are the moments that shape you most. When you choose action over emotion, you are telling your life that you will not be ruled by temporary feelings. You are saying, I trust what I am becoming more than what I feel right now. That trust changes everything. You may feel tired, but tired is not the same as defeated. You may feel unmotivated, but unmotivated is not the same as incapable. Feelings describe your current state, not your potential. Clouds do not erase the sun, they only pass in front of it. In the same way, a heavy mood does not erase your calling. It simply asks you to walk through it with patience instead of passion. When you continue despite your mood, you build emotional independence. You stop waiting for the perfect feeling to give you permission to live fully. You learn that consistency is an act of self-love, not self-punishment. It is choosing to honor your goals even when your emotions are asking for rest. And sometimes the act of showing up is what heals the feeling you were waiting to disappear first. One day, you will look back and realize that your strongest moments were not the ones where you felt powerful, but the ones where you kept going without feeling powerful at all. You will see that your purpose grew stronger every time you refused to let a passing emotion decide your future. You are bigger than your mood. You always have been. And every consistent step you take is proof that your life is guided by intention, not emotion. There are days when you will do everything right and no one will notice. No applause will rise to meet your effort. No voice will say, I see you. The room will stay quiet and the world will move on as if your discipline never showed up. These are the days that test the truth of your commitment, because showing up when someone is watching is easy. Showing up when no one is watching is where growth learns your name. Silence can feel discouraging. It can make you wonder if your work matters, if your effort is invisible, if your persistence is misplaced. But silence is not absence, it is space. It is the place where roots stretch deep before the tree dares to grow tall. What you practice in private becomes what sustains you in public. The strength you build without witnesses becomes the strength that holds you steady when life begins to shake. Do not confuse quiet with failure. The world does not announce every miracle as it happens. Some of the most powerful transformations unfold without sound. Muscles grow while you rest. Seeds split open underground. Healing happens long before scars fade. In the same way, your consistency is working even when results have not yet learned how to speak. There is dignity in unseen effort. There is honor in continuing without praise. When you show up on unapplauded days, you are no longer performing, you are becoming. You are teaching yourself that your worth is not dependent on recognition. You are proving that your discipline is rooted in purpose, not approval. That kind of commitment cannot be taken away because it does not belong to anyone else. The temptation to stop often comes quietly. It whispers, "What's the point?" It nudges you toward comfort and away from persistence. But every time you resist that whisper, you strengthen your inner voice. You begin to understand that the work is not just about the outcome, it is about who you are becoming while you wait. Consistency shapes character long before it produces visible success. And one day, without warning, the silence will break. Not because you demanded attention, but because your steady effort made itself undeniable. People will call it sudden, but you will know better. You will remember the days when you showed up tired, unrecognized, unsure. You will remember choosing discipline over discouragement, commitment over comfort. When that day comes, you will not be surprised by your strength because you met it long ago in the quiet. You built it on days when no one clapped, when no one praised, when no one noticed. And that strength will remind you of a simple truth. The work you do in silence is never wasted. It is preparing you for a moment that will arrive only because you refused to disappear when no one was watching. Every time you choose to continue, even when stopping would be easier, you are sending yourself a message. It may not be loud, and it may not feel dramatic, but it is powerful. You are saying, I am worth the effort. Self-respect is not built in moments of confidence alone. It is built in moments of decision. When you keep going, you are not just completing a task, you are honoring yourself. You are proving that your word to yourself matters. Too often, we treat ourselves as optional. We cancel on our own goals. We break promises we made in quiet moments of hope, and each time we do, something inside us weakens. Not because we failed, but because we stopped believing we deserved follow-through. Consistency repairs that trust. It restores the relationship you have with yourself. Every small act of discipline says, I will not abandon me. Self-respect does not require loud declarations or perfect behavior. It shows up in repetition. It lives in the decision to try again tomorrow after today fell apart. It grows when you do the work even while doubting yourself. You may not feel proud in the moment, but pride is patient. It waits until you look back and realize you stayed when leaving was an option. When you are consistent, you stop negotiating with your excuses. You begin to understand that your feelings do not get to vote on your values. This does not make you harsh, it makes you grounded. You learn the difference between rest and avoidance, between compassion and self-betrayal. Consistency teaches you to care for yourself in a way that is firm, loving, and honest. There's a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can rely on yourself. It changes how you stand, how you speak, how you dream. You stop waiting for permission to believe in your potential. You stop looking outward for validation, because deep down, you know you have shown up for yourself before, and you can do it again. Self-respect in motion looks ordinary to the outside world. It looks like daily effort. It looks like keeping promises no one else heard you make. It looks like choosing progress over perfection. But inside you, something extraordinary is happening. You are becoming someone you trust, someone you don't have to motivate with fear or guilt, someone who moves forward because they know they are worthy of consistency. And over time, that self-respect reshapes your life. You tolerate less of what diminishes you. You reach for more of what aligns with you. Your standards rise, not because you feel superior, but because you feel responsible for your own becoming. You understand that discipline is not punishment, it is protection. So keep going, not because it is easy, not because you feel ready, but because every consistent step is a declaration of self-worth. It is you saying, again and again, I matter enough to continue. And that belief, practiced daily, becomes the foundation of everything you build next. Life will bring seasons you did not ask for. Storms will arrive without warning, and the sky will darken at moments when you felt you were just beginning to stand tall. Rain does not pause to check your readiness, and hardship does not wait for your consent. It falls anyway. And yet, the flower does not argue with the rain. It does not curse the clouds or refuse to grow because the ground feels cold. It bends, it absorbs, and it continues its quiet work of becoming. There will be days when life feels heavy on your shoulders, when responsibilities pile up and hope feels thin. You may wonder why the struggle came now, why the timing feels so unfair. But growth rarely asks for comfort. Often, it chooses challenge as its teacher. The rain that soaks the soil is the same rain that strengthens the roots. What feels like pressure today may be the very thing preparing you to stand tomorrow. Blooming does not mean you are untouched by hardship. It means you are alive in the middle of it. It means you allow yourself to grow even when conditions are imperfect. Too many people wait for ease before they allow themselves to rise. But ease is not a requirement for growth. Consistency is. Showing up again and again, even when the weather of life feels cruel, is how blooming begins. You may feel tired of enduring. You may feel worn from bending without breaking. But remember this: flowers do not bloom all at once. They grow slowly, patiently, unseen for a long time. Their beauty is not rushed, and neither is yours. Every day you continue, every effort you make despite discomfort, you are adding another layer of strength to your becoming. The rain may blur your vision, but it does not erase your direction. Even when you cannot see the sky clearly, your roots know where to go. Trust that part of you. Trust the quiet wisdom that keeps you moving forward, even when your heart feels uncertain. Consistency is listening to that wisdom instead of the fear that tells you to close up and stop growing. One day, you will realize that the storms did not come to drown you. They came to deepen you. They taught you patience. They taught you resilience. They taught you how to bloom without applause, without perfect conditions, without guarantees. And when the sun finally breaks through, you will not just be standing, you will be radiant. So let the rain fall. Let life be hard sometimes. Do not withhold your growth waiting for gentler days. Bloom anyway. Bloom tired. Bloom afraid. Bloom unsure. Because your ability to keep growing, no matter the weather, is proof that you were never meant to be fragile. You were meant to be faithful to your becoming, consistent in your effort, and courageous enough to rise even when the sky is heavy above you. Healing does not arrive like a sudden miracle. It does not knock once and announce that everything is fixed. Healing is quieter than that. It moves slowly, returning to the same place again and again, asking for patience instead of excitement. When something inside you has been broken, it does not trust quickly. It watches, it waits, and it only begins to believe when you show it repeatedly that you are not going to leave. Broken pieces learn through repetition. They listen less to promises and more to patterns. You can tell yourself 1,000 times that you will be okay, but it is the daily act of doing what is right for you that convinces your spirit. Each time you choose consistency over chaos, you send a signal inward that says, "You are safe now." That message, repeated over time, is what begins to heal what pain once taught to hide. Healing can feel boring compared to the drama of hurt. There are no sudden highs, no dramatic turning points. Some days it feels like nothing is happening at all. But underneath that stillness, something important is taking place. Trust is being rebuilt quietly. Wounds are learning that they will not be reopened by neglect. Consistency becomes the language of care, spoken fluently through repetition. You may stumble while healing. You may fall back into old habits, old fears, old ways of protecting yourself. That does not mean healing has failed. It means healing is human. What matters is not perfection, but return. Coming back to the work, coming back to the effort, coming back to yourself. Each return strengthens the belief that you are worth not giving up on. Doing the right thing again and again creates a rhythm your soul can rest in. It teaches your nervous heart that stability exists, that life does not have to be unpredictable all the time, that you can create peace through steady choices, even when the world feels uncertain. Healing grows in environments where consistency replaces chaos. Over time, repetition softens what once felt rigid. Pain loosens its grip. Fear stops shouting. Doubt becomes quieter. Not because life becomes easier, but because you become steadier. You learn that you can survive discomfort without abandoning yourself. You learn that you can keep going gently without forcing or rushing the process. Healing is not about erasing the past. It is about teaching the present a new way to respond. Each consistent action becomes a thread, stitching together parts of you that once felt disconnected. Slowly, the cracks become places where strength settles in. You stop bleeding where you once broke. One day, you will notice that the things that used to trigger you no longer control you, that your reactions have softened, that your heart no longer braces itself for impact at every turn. And it will not be because of one brave moment, but because of many quiet ones. Moments where you chose consistency, moments where you chose care, moments where you stayed. Healing happens through repetition because trust takes time. And every time you do the right thing for yourself again, you are teaching your broken pieces something powerful. This time, you are staying. Rising does not happen in a single moment of triumph. It happens in the quiet decision to continue when stopping feels reasonable. It happens when you wake up and choose effort over ease, faith over fatigue. The world often celebrates the finish line, but it forgets the long road that made the finish possible. Your rise is not an event, it is a process shaped by daily persistence. Greatness is rarely loud at the beginning. It starts small, almost invisible, built from ordinary choices made consistently. It is created when you keep going on days that feel average, dull, or disappointing. Anyone can be passionate for a moment, but passion alone does not carry you far. What lifts you higher is commitment, the kind that shows up without drama, without certainty, without applause. Continuing when progress feels slow teaches you patience. It reminds you that growth does not rush to prove itself. A river does not force its way forward. It flows steadily, shaping stone over time. In the same way, your daily efforts, repeated faithfully, are shaping a life stronger than any single breakthrough could offer. What feels like little movement today may be laying the foundation for a rise you cannot yet imagine. There will be moments when you question whether your effort is enough, when comparison creeps in and tells you that others are ahead, moving faster, shining brighter. But rising is not a race. Your path does not require you to keep someone else's pace. It requires you to keep your own promise. Continuing is how you stay aligned with who you are becoming, rather than distracted by who others appear to be. Each day you continue, you gain something more valuable than immediate success. You gain momentum. Momentum does not announce itself, it builds quietly. It strengthens your confidence, sharpens your focus, and steadies your spirit. One step leads to another, and suddenly the weight that once felt unbearable begins to feel manageable, not because the load changed, but because you did. Continuing also teaches humility. It reminds you that progress is earned, not granted. That mastery is built through repetition, not shortcuts. When you rise by continuing, your success carries depth. It is grounded. It does not shake easily because it was built patiently, honestly, and with intention. There will be days when continuing feels like all you can do. No inspiration, no excitement, just persistence. Those days matter more than you know. They are the days that define your character. They are proof that your commitment does not depend on how you feel, but on who you choose to be. One day, you will look back and realize that your rise was never sudden. It was steady. It was shaped by thousands of small decisions to not quit, to not retreat, to not abandon the vision you carried quietly. You rose because you continued, and that kind of rise is lasting, because it was built from faithfulness, one ordinary day at a time.